Welcome to Entrepreneurs, Executives, and Eccentrics, a podcast dedicated to the stories, strategies, and secrets of remarkable individuals. Join us as we engage in enlightening conversations with intriguing entrepreneurs, accomplished executives, and fascinating eccentrics, exploring their journeys, triumphs, and unconventional wisdom that has shaped their success. Get ready to meet Emma Davis, founder of Miko's Choice. Emma discovered CBD after a near paralyzing horseback accident. When her dog survived terminal liver cancer while being treated with CBD, she ditched veterinarian school to create high-potency, human-grade CBD for dogs, horses, and even pet pigs. While Google and Meta blocked ads, she built Miko's Choice into a nationwide leader through SEO mastery and industry partnerships. Hello, Emma. Tell me who you are and what you do.
Hi, so my name is Emma Davis, and I have a CBD product for animals that I created out of a desire to help them.
So, now, how did you reach this? I mean, it seems that the anti-inflammatory, we've heard all these things all through the years and such, right? And it seemed obvious that this would have been a veterinarian type use or like an animal type use. How did you get here? How did you come up with this?
Yeah, you're right. So in 2013, I was thrown from a horse, broke my back, and was almost paralyzed. And through that recovery, I was prescribed a lot of opioids, obviously. I did not like that experience. At the same time, my brother was starting a cannabis delivery in LA where we were, and he was recommending products for me to try. And those products ultimately are what got me off opioids and feeling better, like I could eat food. They were making me feel like a real human again. So I had my own personal experience with the plant in that way. And then shortly after, my dog was diagnosed with hepatocellular carcinoma, which is a terminal liver cancer. He was given a few months to live. Again, my brother was like, hey, just try these products for him. This was back in 2015 when there were absolutely no pet products on the market. It wasn't recreational for people in California at that time at all. So a lot of experimenting was happening at that point. And what I ultimately saw with my dog was he went into remission for 4 years of a terminal cancer that he wasn't supposed to survive. And I will say that's an extreme case. That's not going to happen for everybody. But between his experience, my experience, it was enough for me to pause my vet school trajectory and actually start in business with my brother. And from there, we were helping people, delivering it to them. And then I also created the products that I have today.
That's cool. That's a great origin story. It has all it checks all the boxes, right? In terms of superhero. Well, that's glorious. Okay, so you've been at this, it seems like kind of at the beginning.
Okay.
How did you, so I guess the hardest part would be, how do you make it for like dosage wise, right? But also manufacturing. Right. How do you have to figure out where does it be manufactured and how do you know it's lab tested and all this stuff? You kind of go through that a little bit?
Yeah, exactly. You're so right. Those were the hardest parts. So dosing was probably the hardest part of this whole puzzle because, like I said, at that time, these products did not exist for pets. I was looking at it for dogs and horses specifically. And so what I did was I tested it on my animals, my personal animals, and then my friends' animals. They would say, oh, my dog is having this or my horse is doing this. And I, at the time, also had just rescued a BLM Mustang who was extremely anxious. And that's where the name comes from, Miko's Choice, because my horse's name is Miko. So I was testing it on him for his anxiety. I was testing it on my dog for cancer and playing with different doses and basically doing my own little research and anecdotal evidence based on that. That's how I kind of figured out the dosing, which turns out there isn't really a set dose. Every individual is different. It's a lot like alcohol in people. We all have different tolerances, and that tolerance depends on the day and what you've eaten or not. So unfortunately, it's not super simple in terms of dose-wise, but I've been able to kind of curate like, hey, start here, and this is how we'll go. In terms of manufacturing, I was able to leverage my connections in the industry, which was super helpful because I was already working on products on the human side. So I just reached out to those people and said, hey, can we do it in this form? And the pellets are unique. I have to have a special manufacturer to do those, but the tinctures are all made in the same facilities. It's all human grade.
What's a tincture? I'm a little out of it.
No,
what is a tincture?
Yeah, so a tincture is what a lot of people would refer to as an oil. So it's the liquid form that comes in a little bottle, has a little dropper, and you can put that on food or directly in the mouth.
Okay, so how big have you gotten this? Are you at a tipping point where you've got enough orders, or how big is this?
Yeah, so I ship nationwide, ship to every state. I have people on subscription orders who order every 2 to 8 weeks. It just depends how often they need. I have a really dedicated customer base. My return rate is like over 80%. And usually people don't come back because their animal has unfortunately passed away or something like that. And so I have a really loyal base. And I think a lot of that is because these products that I offer, what's different is the formulation. They're very potent. So they're very strong and you don't have to give that much to them. So it also lasts you a long time. It's more bang for your buck that way. And so people see results and ultimately it's helping their animal. And so that's why they keep coming back. And that is why I do this.
Excellent. Okay. So it's just for entrepreneurial, like specifically entrepreneurial, right? How do you plan to grow this? Like, how have you gotten here in terms of, because the hard part is well, there's a lot of hard parts, right? But it's probably, you finally have the product, whatever that may be, the end result, the branding, all the kind of stuff that goes with it. Now how have you kind of marketed this?
Yeah, what's interesting about this industry, the CBD and cannabis industry specifically, is the marketing is extremely difficult. You can't just throw up social ads like everything else. You can't just have billboards or TV ads, things like that, because it's hard for somebody like Google to know or Meta to know, is this a legitimate business or is this somebody just selling, a Schedule 1 substance? Because that's what it is, in terms of the federal government. And because of how the federal government classifies it, it's really hard to market it. I've tried to do social ads. They just don't work because you have to do it in like this really weird roundabout way that ultimately to the end consumer just looks really sketchy and they just don't. There's no click-through rate. So what I have done is focused on SEO on Google. And that has been the only way to market this successfully. And it is working. It's helpful because it's going off of what people are searching, what they want. And then also focusing on heavy blogs, content on the website, wording on the website. So Google will recommend my website to people. And that has been a huge increase in getting organic traffic and new customers. And because I know that my product has a lot of efficacy, once they get it in their hands and they try it, they're going to keep coming back. They're going to sign up for those subscriptions. So it's just getting them in the door, which is really hard for this industry. And a lot of it too is that once they try it and they start to refer it to friends. So a lot of it is less like grassroots, word of mouth, you have a referral code system, things like that. It's really kind of basic stuff, unfortunately, but you can't do a big reach like social ads, which would be nice, but you just can't with this industry.
It's an atypical business, and you're having to do it almost like it's like 2005.
Yeah,
SEO and all the kind of the old school kind of ways of marketing and such.
Yeah.
So why is this legal? Is it like the Hemp Act? This classifies this as something different than a Schedule 1 drug? You ship to all 50 states. You obviously fall under something that allows you to do this.
Because it's a hemp product, so you can sell hemp products and ship them across the U.S. You just can't sell a cannabis-based product, which is the ones that are regulated state to state and federally illegal right now.
And I don't know the difference between hemp and cannabis. What's the difference?
Yeah, so they're different species of the same plant, and basically the main difference, what the law cares about, is your THC concentration in them, because THC is the component that's going to get you high. Cannabis plants generally have a higher amount of THC in them, and then hemp plants primarily have a really low quality of it, but they have a lot of CBD in them. And hemp is also big in the texture industry, so like clothing, building materials, ropes, things like that. So because hemp doesn't have the ability naturally as much as a cannabis plant to get you high, the government's like, okay, this one's fine.
Right. Anyway, as I understand it, the Declaration of Independence is actually written on hemp, but it's kind of been around a minute.
Yes.
Okay, so okay, are you concerned about something? Because I keep hearing grumblings on the news about, we're going to close that loophole, blah blah. Have you kind of heard that as well?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do it. I think these products are really popular, and if we go back to what hemp was originally used for, like you said, textiles, clothes, building things. I mean, Senator Mitch McConnell is really a proponent of hemp farms because of those things, and because it's a heavy industry in the state he's from.
Right, that does help, doesn't it?
Yes.
Everything aligns with him is the economics align just perfectly with his whatever.
Yes.
Right? Okay, so is the ultimate goal to kind of grow this into something larger? Like, what is your kind of future goals?
Yeah, I would love for my brand to be what people think of when they think of CBD for their animals. And funny enough, it's starting to be that for people who have pigs. Which is super random.
Oh, I caught something about that. I caught you on a pig. It was a pig podcast a couple days ago, actually.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, there you go. um,
Yeah. So okay. So that's a very interesting way to kind of back into a larger market that doesn't allow you to advertise conventionally, right?
Exactly.
So if you go to the Pet Pig podcast or something like
Yeah.
that, you can reach a bazillion people, right? Just basically for having a conversation.
Exactly. And what's funny is, so I have pet pigs, which is why I care about them. But so you have to have your pig's feet trimmed every few months. And this woman comes, she travels the whole country doing this. And she has 13,000 clients. And so I've partnered with her. And so now every day she sees, 10 or so people every day. They get a text at the end of the day that say, hey, these are products that I recommend. My product is there. Boom. There you
Smart.
go. And if you Google from an SEO perspective, CBD for pigs, I'm going to show up right there. So a lot of this like marketing, to get back to your early point, is to know like a niche and to get ahead of it and to like be the voice in that world. And so for me, I really started to do that for pigs. I also am becoming known in the horse world. Like I'll do events in person and people come up to me, they're like, oh, I use your product, or I heard about it. I'm so glad you're here.
That's awesome.
Which is so cool because I can't market in the way that normal people do. So it tells me that something's working.
Yeah, and I love it. I love that you could say, like, I'm crushing the pig industry, crushing it. I'm destroying the pig industry. That's good, and that's the thing is, I wonder if there's other types of really large following, for horses or for, I don't know, all the other animals that could benefit from this.
Right.
Has this been used for dogs and hip dysplasia and kind of the aches and pains that older dogs have?
Yeah, totally. So that's the tincture, or the oil can be used for dogs as well. I call it the all animals tincture because it can literally be used for anybody. So a lot of people have multiple species in their household, me included, which again is how I think about this product is this something that I would use? Yes or no? What do I like about this? What do I don't like about it? And so ultimately I just kind of made something for myself and it was like, here, people who are like me, try this. And it turns out that worked.
That's so natural, right? It's like an organic, kind of grew organically out of a need and kind of here you, and I love that. No, ultimately, I wonder if you make this into a big enough brand where you sell this off to PE, private equity, right? You make this where it's kind of the place to go for these types of products, and then they just start kind of building under it. That's absolutely fascinating. So, okay, so are there is this kind of the product space you're going to concentrate on? Are there other products you're going after?
This is definitely the space to concentrate on, just CBD products. I just came out with CBD dog treats, for example. The CBD space is pretty crowded, but I think what sets me apart from them is the potency and the formulation compared to other products out there. I mean, I literally have on my website charts of like, here's my product, here are these named brands, compare what they're offering and the price, and I just like outperform them in an insane way, which is, again, hard. It's frustrating that you can't really market it so well because the choice would be so obvious. And so to answer your question, I've thought about going into big box retail, for example, like being the next big step. But ultimately that is really expensive and hard to do. And, I think about Shark Tank all the time because obviously I watch that show. And their advice often, I think, to someone like me is to not go into big box retail.
Well, the reason is you've got to put a bunch of money up front, a bunch of product up front, and you won't get paid for 90 days or 120 days.
Right.
And if they don't sell it, guess who gets to pay for the shipping on the way back?
Right, exactly.
You do, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of kind of small issues. Well, there's a lot of issues there. I wonder if you just go after every mom and pop pet store, right? In North America, there's got to be tens of thousands of them, right? And they don't play by the rules of the big boxes, and now they're just buying from you that way.
Exactly. Yeah, and so that's a possible strategy that I'll employ this year too. I have a few small feed stores that I've done that with, and they reorder constantly. It does really well in them, but it's just getting like into the door is the hard part, because it's just cold emails and cold calling, and that's fine. Happy to do it, but it's just harder.
Doesn't scale very well.
Yeah.
So the way my mom did it, right? So my mom had a t-shirt shop over in New Smyrna Beach, Florida. It's very lowbrow stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she kind of had a brand, and the way that she expanded her brand was she sent a free t-shirt and an order form for the website to every t-shirt shop in Florida.
Nice.
And she crushed it.
Cool.
So I wonder if there's a world where you go after, you simply FedEx a pre-sample, right, to every mom and pop, animal thing, right, store or whatever in your area. And then once you own your area, just kind of slowly start expanding. It seems like a very cheap way to go.
Yeah.
Right. Especially if you only offer like a little tiny sample pack, right? And just kind of, you FedEx it that way. They have to sign for it. They opened it. And now you have 100% open rate. You have 100% contact rate.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Because you know why? Because nobody gets mail anymore. Nobody gets mail. When you get mail, you're like, I got a piece of mail. It's so rare, right? I know I'm a million years old and you're much younger than I am. But mail used to be, there must be this much junk mail, and now I get 3 pieces a week, right? So mail is a super effective way to massively scale what you're doing, in my opinion, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's funny you say that. I love mail too. I worked on a ranch where the only way to communicate was through the mail. And so it would like handwritten letters to my friends for like months on end. And it was just so much fun.
Where are you from?
I'm from LA originally, but.
Okay. When I hear ranch, I don't think LA or California.
No, the ranch was in Northern California, so yeah.
Okay. So pharmacologically speaking, that's a word. How does the hemp actually work, or do you understand the kind of the mechanics of what's going on? Because ultimately, it's an anti-inflammatory, right? So it's reducing the inflammation, which is an old age disease, which is all the things that they kind of suck about getting older, right? Do you know exactly how it works?
Yeah. So in our bodies, we have what's called an endocannabinoid system. Similar to like your nervous system, it runs through your whole body. It's a series of receptors. And so what's in the cannabis plant are called endocannabinoids, which are the different molecules like CBD, THC broken down. Those molecules then plug into the receptors, just like it would work if you're taking a medication, plugging into your pain receptor, for example. And so the goal is to have those receptors in the endocannabinoid system full in order for it to work. Which is why if you have like chronic pain or you're chronically anxious, it's good to just take these products every day so that your receptors are full. It's helping you out, long-lasting effect. And so that's generally how it goes, just receptors, how your body works that way in many different functions. So it's a naturally occurring system that our body knows what to do with.
Emma Davis, you are reducing the pain of animals, and you're a saint. That's it's glorious. It's just when I see humans, you can kind of tell what's wrong. With animals, you really can't tell what's wrong. So it's almost feels like magic if you can actually reduce the pain or remove the pain kind of from their lives. Emma, we're out of time. Thank you very much for doing this, and I'm probably gonna order your product right now for my ancient labradoodle who's having some all kind of pain. Thank you very much for doing this. I'll see you soon.
Thanks.